People don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. And if you can put that out there and be like, I'm doing this because I feel electricians aren't serving the community and I want to fill that gap, but you're able to actually prove that you walk the walk, people will actually think of you with the brand recognition and as a result call you instead of going to Google in the first place.
Hello, and welcome to the $1 Million Electrician Podcast, where we help home service pros like you supercharge your business and spark up those sales.
I'm Joseph Lucani, and together with my co-host, Clay Newmeyer, we're here to share the secrets that have helped electricians sell over $1 million from a single service van.
Now, it's time for sales. It's time for scale. It's time to become $1 million electrician. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another great episode of the $1 Million Electrician Podcast, brought to you by our powerful sponsors, Duramax. Powerful. Like what I did there, Joe?
There you go.
How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great. I'm literally living the dream right now. I feel like I'm great. I'm having a ton of fun. Today's just been an absolute roller coaster, but you know what? When you love what you do, you enjoy the ride every step of the way.
I agree, man. It's been a blast of a week. We've been doing a lot of strategy ourselves and digging down to the tactical as we get ready for 2026 being the best year ever. I mean, who doesn't want that, by the way, right? Another year just around the corner. Who doesn't want to make this one the best one they possibly can?
Mm-hmm. I'm with you 100%. It's almost like those New Year's resolutions that you actually have to check yourself on within 2 months. It's like, we're right there. It's like, all right, where were you January 1st of last year? And did you actually do the things you said you were going to do?
That's the part I think no one does, though. Who's actually going back and looking at, okay, where did we want to go? And did we get there actually this year?
I did.
How's it going?
No, I was going to say, when you said who did that, like realistically.
You did it.
Yeah. No, my main goal was I wanted to get under a certain weight and get back into fitness. Friday marks 30 weeks of consistently working out now. Down a lot of the weight. So far, so good. I still got a while to go. But once again, I love the training aspect. I love the refinement. And now it's just time to raise the bar again for January. As long as we have a goal, we have something to shoot for. And if we have something to shoot for, there's something to occupy our attentions.
Drive a stake in the ground right here. Let me just say it publicly. This is one of the things I appreciate about having a partner like you, Joe, is you do 100% of the things you say that you're going to do. And as we were just laughing about in our own team biweekly projects meeting, we're laughing because I can't even read a page of a book without completely squirreling out and ending up in outer space, which is usually a pretty cool place with a lot of momentum and great ideas, but not a ton of action in outer space. Like you could literally imagine the spaceman with anti-gravity, the suit, right? Just like you could not work very hard or be very productive in that mode.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I love the thought of it. That's why astronauts have to exercise so hard, because the muscles atrophy in space.
Yeah. So digging down, you know what? I love to do it. I find I'm best when I'm around other people to do that, though. Like if you leave me alone, though, I'll end up in outer space again.
Mm-hmm. I work best when I'm alone, because then I can focus in tunnel vision. If I'm with too many people, then I'll actually not be as productive.
Yeah, we found that out early. Do you remember? I was like, hey, maybe we should have like just some collaboration hours where we just work together. And you were like, what? Why? Why do you want to distract me?
I remember that. I think I offended you a little bit at first, and that wasn't my intention. But yeah, I think after 1 or 2 sessions, we're like, actually, Joe, you do work best on your own. Let's just go ahead and do your thing.
Just do your thing. I'll figure lonely old me out. No, the team's grown since then. We have a ton of productivity and a ton of fun. We're still learning lessons every day, though. And one of those lessons we keep learning about, we wanted to do a part 2 to the last episode, was this marketing quest we were on. And I feel like we dove into a ton of the like energy, the psychology, the victor versus victim, how to take responsibility, like all the mindset stuff of marketing, and a little bit of strategy in there. But maybe today we could diving deeper on how to really move the needle for some people.
I would love that. And let's pretty much take a starting point. Let's start from ground zero and work our way up, right? So I'm sure that there's the electrician out there that's just starting out. And it's like, I'm on a shoestring budget. What do I do? And what's the first most impactful move? Because I remember being broke as a joke. Like our marketing was a $200, site that would filter garbage leads or hitting door hangers. So what do you suggest for the person who's really on the bootstrap budget?
Yeah, and I think there's 2 sides to this, and I'd love for people to hear about your Home Depot days that you'd get sent to early on too. But to me, I'm going to tie back to that reality TV show thing we talked about last time. I think the most important thing to recognize, not to get too far into space again, but like the story really matters. And it's important to accept where you are and to use that as your advantage too. So I think too often we get competitive. We think like, well, the big guys, they have all the money. They can pay for all the leads. They can beat me in all these areas. But the advantage you have is like time, care, and attention. Like how many big companies can you phone and get the owner to actually answer, help you solve problems, and then come to your home and actually do the work? You know what I mean?
Very few and far between. I can't even imagine that in like today's day and age. But it's a great strategy. I agree.
So I think right off the bat, like you've got to take control of that. You have to own that and use it as your advantage. Now, I don't think you should be answering the phones. Don't get me wrong. But when it comes to conversations with homeowners, I think you should not rush calls. I think you should spend more time with people and listening to them and having and sharing your story a bit too. But I think you can pre-frame that by doing this for free in your marketing so that you don't take up a bunch of time while you're at their home talking about yourself. Do you know what I mean by that, Joe?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the same time, no one likes someone who only talks about themselves, because at the end of the day, what we've realized in the course of sales is the best levers to actually pull on is getting the customer to talk about themselves and us showing a genuine interest in it. The moment we talk about us, it could be interpreted as, oh, this guy thinks he's so great. He thinks he's so smart. Well, let me show him. And that's where the engineer comes out to try to stop us.
The engineer.
Mm.
Get that guy away from me.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch my 10-foot pole.
Yeah. So that's a big part of it. And the other part of it is like, it's a grind. So I think this is a great time to introduce what I was saying about your story, even is I love how you'd go down to Home Depot and just talk to people. Like, can you tell us a bit about that strategy and how you'd make it work?
Yes. So I want to give some context as to where we were, because it's a good story, but it also has some incrimination in it. So we're going to work through it. So The cool thing was, at the time when I was first starting my company, I was employed by another company and they had been working with Home Depots. And what I had done was I found, and for some reason, that I was able to go out and do the things they asked me to do by getting leads. And I didn't think it was that hard because it's just starting conversations with people. But the funny thing is that so few of the other members of the company would actually do the thing they were asked to do, that a good day for them would be coming back with like 1 or 2 leads at the most. What I was told was, the more leads you get, they'll be your leads. You can go take them. You can run the calls however you want. If you can get us like 4 or 5 leads, that's amazing. That's a great day. Well, what I would do is I would actually position myself, and we can get into a little bit more. And I would literally take around like 10 leads and be like, okay, great. I hit my 10 leads. I did it within 3 hours. Now I'm going to go and do my own work while I'm starting my own company. Now, the cool thing was, let's get into how we actually did those interrupts. Because the problem is if you imagine that there's someone at the end cap, like you see him, the guy standing behind the generator, or the guy standing behind the air conditioner or the mini split, and he's just sitting there with his collared shirt and he's just looking around like, hey, can I help you with something? What I found was different was I took the generator and I put it right in the middle of the walking path. Granted, that probably was a fire hazard, but here was the reason why we did it. I would move it to the center and I'd put all the brochures and all the literature behind it. And then I would stand to the side in my tech uniform, not near it. I would stand literally at the end cap. And what I would do is I would just observe. And as someone would come by, they would stop, or they'd look and they'd backtrack and they'd start looking at it. And the way I would approach is not, oh, you're looking for a generator. Be like, yeah, honestly, I love those systems too. And that's why I really enjoyed having one at my home. Hey, was there a particular system? Like, why stop? Like, why are you interested in this? And the questions that came up was like, oh, well, Sandy came by. We don't want to be there again. Or Irene kicked our butts. We don't want to be there again. Oh, well, I'm happy to help. I mean, literally, this is something that we usually do on a basis. But, is it really something you're looking into? Or, I mean, you could just buy the unit here if you want. Like, it says easy as 1, 2, 3 on the Generac box. Do you want to just try it? No, I'm not an electrician. I can't do it. Okay, well, if it is something you're interested in, what we do is we do consultation and free design. Obviously, I'd be the electrician who'd be installing it. I'd be the one who'd be viewing it with you. So if you think we're a great fit, I'd be happy to just take your name, and next time in the area, I'll reach out. Yeah, sure, no problem. So we pose it as a tentative. Hey, when I'm in your area next, I'll reach out. So they gave me their name, their number, their email. But in doing so, it was a low pressure ask. It wasn't something that they couldn't necessarily see the sales pitch coming, because it wasn't a sales pitch. It was, let me just see when I'm in the area if I can support you with this. And as a result, we'd get between 8 to 10 names per session, which was already 2 to 3 times better than what my coworkers were doing. And at the same time, I would get great leads that I was able to go quote to.
Such a great example of how to position something to drive a conversation that could be valuable for someone else that results in a very non-pressure situation. And the golden rule, and why I love this story, is whether you're just starting out, guys, like really focus on this as a golden rule. Whether you're just starting out or cash flow is tight, leads are low, and you're worried that cash flow will be tight, the number one rule I have for you guys in marketing to stay tactical always, more conversations equals more work.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the golden rule. Now, of course, you can't go to McDonald's and have a conversation about a Big Mac. So what Joe just told you is a great way to inspire a conversation that on a specific targeted niche that he wanted to drive, which is fantastic. What's an ideal conversation that you could also get into? Well, we talked about in the beginning, the Good Neighbor program.
Mm-hmm.
It has a strong why frame to it. Hey, because we know there's not many electricians who are reliable these days to even answer the phone when you need them, we're providing service in your neighborhood to John's just over there with the red door. And we wanted to make sure we dropped by, said hello, introduced ourselves, and handed you this door hanger, business card, whatever, and just let you know that we're here and much more able to do work without any delay if you needed anything. It's so simple to have these conversations, and yet no one does it. Did you want to speak to this one, Joe?
I did, yeah, because there's actually another really cool way of viewing this. Because you're right, people don't want to do it. And the reason why is because it makes you have to put yourself out there. That's why they weren't doing it at Home Depot. That's why they're not doing it when they do door to door. But if you can position it as something that's a service to someone else, like a public awareness. So one thing that I heard was really, really good was that at the beginning of an install, you're going to go to the neighbors across the street and be like, hey, just so you know, we're going to be putting in a generator for John, but I want you to know, here's my direct number. Obviously, we're going to be working different things. If any paperwork or garbage blows over, please just give me a call. I'll walk over. I'll pick it up. But I just want you to know we're going to be taking care of this thing. We should be out within a certain amount of hours. I won't block the street. Just let me know if there's anything you need me to do differently while I'm doing it. Mm-hmm. And as a result, now you're able to bring it to someone's attention.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so important. And the phases I see companies go through is typically in the beginning, they'll do these things. They'll grind for conversations. Then they'll grow tired of that. And as you delegate things in the company, you tend to lose track of these little momentum items, these little tactics that we're running. And so they stop somewhere in the middle. And as the team grows, it becomes one of those things that you just left in the past. And then all of a sudden, one day, when you're paying for all the lead channels, the Googles, the local service ads, the pay-per-clicks, meta ads, you've got all these things running, you'll realize, gosh, our marketing spend is high. Man, I wish we had a way to multiply these leads. And that's like our entire mission here is like, let's not lose track of mission critical, which is to take the best possible care of every lead to make sure we put them in our system with all the relative information. And there's more on this too. There's so much with how we take care of the lead has to do with how we get more from every lead, how we get more leads from every lead, how we attract more leads from every job that we do for each lead. I mean, this is all mission critical, but it tends to be kind of you start with it, then you stop. And then as you grow, you become kind of back into this bigger picture, this bigger pot of, oh, we need that stuff again to really maximize. You know what I mean, Joe?
Yeah, no, 100%. It's interesting though, because a lot of times the main question an electrician will give is, well, I don't know how to get the lead in the first place. But the cool thing about it is that you can do so many low effort or low budget things. But if you can serve the client in the right way, you just need a shoe in the door. Because if I can demonstrate that I provide a white glove service or that I do something that stands out from the competition, they now have reason to want to refer me, especially if I'm able to make it an easy process. Like when we do our reviews and asking for it and literally staying right there as they're filling it out, making them have the link directly. So the more we can make it a turnkey experience, the better we're going to be for everyone. Now, I'm genuinely curious, if you mind if I kind of spin this a little bit. Now, let's say, you had to choose one particular source. Now, obviously, there's so many different revenue streams that we can come from as far as creating ads and doing marketing. But let's say you are that new guy, right? where's the first step that you would say to take? Like, what would you recommend doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Day one, the first things is it's actually probably three things total here. I'll make it one though. I'll cheat this and I'll say, hey, the first thing I would do is I'd go look below this video and grab the roadmap level one leads from Service Loop Electrical, because we put all these steps on this for this reason, to help you guys so you know the exact steps that we would take. And I would stand behind this roadmap over and over again for 2025, 2026, which essentially is going to have us go set up as many of our organic sites day one as possible on social medias and start telling that story. In fact, one of the apps that we now leverage is called Vista Social. And Vista Social allows you to build and schedule your posts in one single place and post them on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, not personal Facebook, but your business Facebook. So setting your business up in those places also makes you findable. Does that make sense, Joe?
No, it does. I mean, and obviously, I personally believe that simplicity is key. And if you can have one source that does multiple things, you're far better off, because the more hands they are in something, the worse the actual thing comes out. So the more simplification you do is better. I mean, speaking to simplification, is there other kind of avenues that you'd recommend? So obviously going through that Vista source, I think that's a great idea. Let's say you wanted to do like an organic thing. Like, how would someone get into even getting into Facebook, or how would you start like structuring posts and things like that?
Yeah, so we basically want to capture two things. And if you guys haven't seen this already, please go back and watch the marketing episodes with Forrest Shorts in this season 3, because they're going to go into much more depth there. But basically what I want to do is organically, I want to follow a cadence we started to talk about in the last episode that gets people to know, like, and trust. And I want to tell our story because I want to capture the people that already trust us. And as you know very well, Joe, we believe in selling full price to family and friends. And that's actually one of the best places to learn to sell full price. If you make mistakes, they're forgivable there. Mistakes meaning like in the process, in how you're going to follow through and how you're going to communicate. You can even get feedback from these people that will still pay you full price. So it's a great place to practice. I really strongly believe in that. But they'll only buy if they know that you're serving, if they know that you have availability, if they know what you do. And that's why that posting and these conversations become so important. Does that make sense?
No, it really does. I mean, I think you said it really, really well, where people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. And if you can put that out there and be like, I'm doing this because I feel electricians aren't serving the community and I want to fill that gap, but you're able to actually prove that you walk the walk, people will actually think of you with the brand recognition, and as a result, call you instead of going to Google in the first place.
Yeah, 100%. In fact, there's something I want to bring up. I know it came up in conversations. I'm not sure if this has hit the podcast already, but safety is a niche, guys. Niches get riches. That's something we've talked about before in our marketing episodes. If it definitely belongs here too. Like, niches get riches, meaning if you can speak to an exact problem that exists within a customer's home and make them problem aware, then the sale becomes yours to mess up, so long as you can speak to a simple solution to provide that with. In all of that sits this idea that safety is a niche in itself. I mean, if you look around, how many antiquated systems are around the US and Canada for that much?
I mean, they're literally everywhere. And like, the craziest thing is, I can give a one statement right now that every electrician who's listening to this will get. You walk into the home, you look up, you see a tan smoke detector. I don't need to say the age. We already know where it's from. It's from the 90s, because when they made that plastic, it was meant to deteriorate at a certain point, and even a white one would turn tan just by the natural aging process. But how many of us actually bring it to the customer's attention? Even though we know it's not reliable because it's 20 years old, and we know that by not having it, we're missing a major safety function. So,
yeah,
sorry.
That's good. Bearing in mind that in the 90s, like, we were smoking on planes. What do you think was happening in our houses?
I know. I mean, literally, people are still smoking in their houses. What are you going to do? But at the same time, like, putting the proper protection in, or at least letting them know about it. You know what I mean? Like, all right, granted, I get it, but bring them aware and talk to them about it in a way that doesn't seem like a sales pitch. If you're able to present it in something that's like, hey, this is a genuine concern I have. I know you didn't call me for it. What would it be wrong of me to at least tell you?
Yeah, there's a number of things you can look for as in safety as a niche, right? Panel age. evidence of different temperatures, acceptable temperatures for various equipment. Obviously, a breaker and a panel busing have different tolerances for that temperature, but the breaker will show signs of melting. I mean, we've all seen this. Backstab receptacles show signs of melting. Or if you audit a few in a home and you shake it, like, can you see visible wire movement? How about those connections? Were they even good? Or wire nuts even still on them? You know, the list goes on and on and on. Rodents, the rest of it. It's like, actually, you know what? Here's a fine example of the problem we have in North America.
Okay.
We just signed our first international client into our program from Belgium, Frederick. And I was on an onboarding call with Frederick. I was so excited, and it was great to meet him. And I was talking about our lifetime craftsmanship guarantee. And he said something really interesting. He said, you know, here, your home has to be certified by an electrician every, I can't remember if he said 15 or 25 years. In other countries, guys, let's wrap our heads around this. You literally need an electrician to certify it. Why would they possibly bring that into governance, rather?
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, think about it. Like, if you had the situation where people recognize that things aren't safe, like, put into context. I was helping my friend finish a basement, and we were opening up the enclosures, and yeah, it had cloth wiring, and yeah, it held, but some didn't have wire nuts. They were still soldered and taped with tar tape, and they were still holding. And you think to yourself, like, okay, no one looked at this in the past 60 years. This clearly isn't safe, but what do we do about it? So if we had the ability of auditing connections and coming through, think of the amount of insurance premiums that would drop because the concern of fire would be so low.
That's the key. That's the key, right? But we overlook these things and we get complacent in our own shoes. It's an incredible thing to actually look outside of our culture and start to borrow from different, even industries, cultures, industries, right? When I went into residential service and relaunched my company before this one of the things I brought from the industrial and the projects game was some of the level of quality control. So I would always have documentation to show what was planned, what was done. And yeah, those were extra steps. But I know my homeowners that I worked with and the business owners that I worked with felt actually better about the project or the service that I had provided because I left them with a guarantee on page they could see forevermore and add to their file cabinet of like, what happened here? Not to mention in their email. So safety is a niche, quality is a niche, and service is a niche. These are items that we focus on. It's important to focus on those things so that you stand apart from the other electricians there. So Joe, I want to bring that up again and just say thank you for actually positioning us that way in your post, because that's what really matters. Hey, yeah, I'm an electrician, but we're also doing things different here.
Mm-hmm. You know, I had something to say and it completely set my mind when we were going through it, but I'm going to circle back to that. I had something. I will come back. Forgive me.
No worries. I'm going to dive back into your original question, which is what are the actual steps? Because that was like one piece of it, to just tell that story and choose an angle and go after it. The other piece is you want something working for you while you sleep. And so this one hasn't really been talked about a ton on our podcast, but it's something that you should definitely pay attention to. Okay, so Google still is like 70 to 80% of marketing traffic for electricians. Just like we talked about with Forrest, that's where intent buyers come from, meaning they know they have a problem and they know they need an electrician to solve it. We ought to be there. Would you agree with that?
100%. You know, I did remember what I was going to say, but I'll wait till you finish by all means.
All right. So we just want to be present on that channel and we want to optimize our Google as much as we can. And we know there's certain steps, and Forrest talked about that. There's many resources, including in our roadmap, which you can click below and go check it out. So I'll save you guys the dry stuff and the technical and just say, like, strategically, we ought to be there. We ought to get a website set up. It's like a storefront. People can go walk in and see how you are, what it's about, what your about us is, what the team looks like, how you're prepared to service them, what that reflection of an experience would look like. So that's some of the intense stuff. You'd want to have that set up. Joe, do you still remember what you're going to drop?
And it's a good question to ask again, because it's possible within those few minutes I did not. So we were talking about the guarantee previously and how things had to be certified. Now, what are your thoughts on physically marketing your guarantee? Like, what we do is we obviously do a lifetime craftsmanship guarantee, and that makes us stand out. But what are your thoughts on physically marketing such a guarantee?
100%. You need to market your difference. Mm-hmm. I think though, also where this breaks down is people see marketing as like a single bucket. Here's my marketing. Did it work or not?
Mm.
And that's just, it's so much more than that. And that's why I love marketing. Guys, you got to recognize if you're a master electrician, just getting licensed, your apprentice, your journeyman, somewhere on your electrical journey, that took time and effort and investment to get that trade certification or to earn that in your near future. Marketing's kind of like that. Marketing could be a 4 to 5 year trade designation that people earn because there's so many aspects to understanding buyer psychology and positioning our solutions to the problems that they have and are aware of or that they need to be aware of. And so there's many, many things we can do with it. And I can't wait to go deeper on this. In fact, I know this is going to be a follow-up episode, but I want to teach you guys a bit more about back-end selling and how important that is. And that should probably be on the next one that we can hit after this. Joe, did you have anything to add to that piece?
No, I mean, but you definitely piqued my interest when you're talking about the back end selling, because that's something that I think a lot of people are not using enough of because they don't fully understand it. So I'm definitely down to get into that.
Yeah, for sure. So let's hit that on the next episode. But basically, back end selling, guys, is just how we make our sales team and our electricians' jobs easier by informing customers in the right way at the right time to build trust. Because what we really know is there's a trust epidemic happening right now. And that happens for a number of reasons. But you know what? I mean, a lot of it you can see in your socials. You can see it in your 368 feet of scroll every day. There's sponsored ads everywhere. Like everyone's being sold to at all times. So what's actually happening around us right now as we speak is we're being forced to be more efficient in how we sell, be more efficient in our messaging, which is actually a good thing. So we have to learn and adapt to just the right messaging at the right time with the right people. Does that make sense?
It really does. Right place, right people, right presentation. Everything goes smooth.
And that's a big key. And that's where we get into making the most of every lead, as we've discussed so many times before. And I can't wait to get into that more with you guys. So ultimately, start by telling your story, right? Then start filling those Google buckets so you have stuff working in the background while you work. And that's really important. But then it's also important to cycle back around and keep updating that. Google, what people don't realize or recognize is, sure, it works for you while you work, but you still have to keep working towards that. You still have to keep working on it if you want that to be an effective solution for your brand. This same with AI. It's the same with website SEO. It's the same with any of these, your meta ads, right? All of these, every single channel, organic, Google, Meta, AI, all of them can fall flat based on your lack of effort or lack of investment in them. In fact, most will, because it's a competitive market. Other people want that too. Does that make sense?
100%. I'm with you there.
All right. So, Joe, I think we got to wrap this one up, guys. Again, we're going to give you that level 1 roadmap for leads down below. This is what's working for electricians as we speak in our programs, what we're working through. Forrest is helping guys out with that too. So, again, his information will be linked below also. But yeah, check out that roadmap. That'll help you guys out in a big, big way. Most important things to remember. If I'm low on leads, more conversations equals more work. Right? Very, very important. Don't lose sight of that, because some of us become the dying cat under the porch or the guy choking in the restaurant that runs to the bathroom. That's actually the exact opposite of what we need to do. We got to take a breath, get our wits about us, and go back out there and keep having conversations, keep putting the work in, because law of conservation of energy says this really well. Energy could neither be created nor destroyed. It's merely transferred, which means this thing's a rubber band. Where do I need to pull back in order to launch forward?
I guess a good analogy to compare that, to just tie it all together, is, how you were mentioning about like the guy who's afraid and as a result is choking and runs to the bathroom. My view is, if I'm choking, I'd rather people have to step over me in order to get past it. So it's like, even if I fail, you got to at least see it. And as a result, that's going to do something for someone.
Awesome. Yeah, really good analogy, man. That's the thing. So guys, we're going to come back for a part 3 on this one. We're going to talk about back-end selling, some of the things that we're learning and using at Service Up Electrical, and recognizing about the marketplace. And this is what will help you, even though leads costs are rising, even though you might not find it totally reasonable to compete with $100 leads or more. That's where we're headed, guys. That's the future.